Hello, my name's Catherine and this is my channel So Much Sewing. This channel is all about sewing. However, this video is just a little bit different from normal. You will probably know if you've watched my channel before, or if this is your first time here, you can probably tell by my accent, by the way I'm speaking, that I'm a Kiwi from New Zealand. New Zealand is a very small country way down the bottom of the world. There's 5 million people who live in New Zealand in the whole of the country, not just one city, in the whole of the country, 5 million people. So we're a tiny little nation at the bottom of the world, but I do feel in lots of ways we punch above our weight. For example, you probably have all heard of the All Blacks who play rugby. We've got a couple of really well-known golfers. We've just hosted the FIFA World Cup here in New Zealand. And you may have heard of Jacinda Ardern, who is not our current Prime Minister, but our previous Prime Minister, who launched herself on the world stage for all sorts of reasons. So I feel like New Zealand is becoming more and more well known over the years. And as I say, I think we punch above our weight, considering the size of our population. And in the home sewing field, I feel that's true as well. This video, I'm going to showcase 5 New Zealand sewing pattern companies. These companies are really well known. I have seen these companies and their patterns pop up on sewing vloggers, YouTube channels, all the time over the last sort of 3 or 4 years, which is the length of time I've been watching YouTube. So each of these companies that I'm going to mention today, I personally have seen on a YouTube vlogger. I've seen them talk about the company or a pattern that they have made. What I'm going to do is I'm going to link the sewing pattern company below, and I'm also going to link the YouTuber's video where I have seen this pattern, where they've talked about it or where they've made it up. It may not matter to you that these companies are from New Zealand. It matters to me. I'm pretty excited about it. I want to showcase these companies to you. They're world class, they're very well known, and I just wanted to bring it to your attention. So if you would maybe comment below and let me know if you knew about this company, if you knew that it was from New Zealand. If you've made any of these patterns, that would be really awesome. I'd love to know how many of you know about our creative geniuses from way down here in New Zealand. And so, yeah, have a look at these YouTube channels that I'm linking below. Have a look at them talking about the patterns. It may be a pattern you're interested in, it may not, that's fine. But I just thought it would be interesting to do this video and let you guys know. So I'm going to leave it there now because this video is going to be quite a long one. You might need to grab a drink and a snack. But I hope you'll enjoy it, and I'll see you again soon. Bye for now. If you're new here, thank you very much for stopping in. I hope you'll like this video. It's a little bit different to, well, it's very different to what I normally do. So I hope you will like that, and I hope you will decide to stick around, subscribe, click the notification bell, and do all those sorts of things. And if you are a returning viewer, thank you very much for coming back. I appreciate your support each week, and I look forward to making these videos for you. Whether you are a new subscriber, whether you've been here before, or whether this is your very first time, I hope you will give me a cheeky thumbs up. That would be appreciated. I'm going to show you 2 to 3 patterns from each of these designers, and I'm going to also tell you which sewing YouTubers I have seen making these patterns up. There are other New Zealand sewing pattern designers, not just the 6, but these are ones that are really well known that I see all the time on YouTube, and I wonder if the person making realizes that they're actually from New Zealand. So if you would like a part 2 where I can show you some other New Zealand sewing pattern designers that are not quite so well known, then please let me know. I would love to put that together for you too. There will be lots of me looking down in this video. I'll be putting lots of pictures up here for you, so don't worry about that, but I've got information down here, and I want to make sure that I give you the most accurate information I can. I also will link the YouTubers who I know I have seen talk about these patterns below. There'll be others that I don't know about. So if you know of other YouTubers who have sewn these patterns up, then please feel free to let me know in the comments below. I'd love to go and look at those videos. The first company I'll talk to you about is Papercut Patterns. And Papercut Patterns, they've got some really funky modern designs. They've got patterns for all different skill levels, and they've got a fantastic size range. So a lot of these companies are very size inclusive. Some of them are not, but there are some companies here that are really size inclusive, and these are really size inclusive. So in most of these patterns, they go up to a bust size of 154 centimeters, which is 60.5 inches, and a hip measurement of 162 centimeters or 64 inches. The first pattern from Papercut Patterns is the Nova Coat, and this Nova Coat is just a nice cocoon sort of styling. It doesn't have any closures on it. It's got some fabulous big pockets, which is an amazing statement. And you know, you can make it as long or as short as you would like. I think the standout on this pattern is the big pockets in the front, and it's got some really nice seaming in it to give it shape and that cocoon shape. And the YouTuber who made the Nova Coat, well, I have seen more than one, but I'm just going to mention Amelia from Sew Amelia. And she's got a bit of a story to her coat, because she thought she had enough of her blue coating to make the Nova Coat, but she realized she actually didn't have enough fabric after all. But because there were all those amazing seam lines in the Nova Coat, it gave her the opportunity to colour block. So she put another colour, a beige or a taupe colour, with her navy, and she ended up with a colour blocked coat. And I believe she was really happy with the result, and I think it looks fantastic. So I will look for that video and I will link it below so you can see it in action. The next pattern to talk to you from Papercut Patterns is the Solar Tee, and this is more than just a tee. You can make it as a sweatshirt as well. There's some really nice detail. You can put a lovely little frill on the seam line here where the arm meets the drop shoulder. You can crop it, you can make it longer. Just a really useful and versatile pattern. The YouTuber I've seen make this Solar Tee, it's actually going to be hard for me to find just one video to show you, because Kath from Made by Kath Craft loves this Solar Tee, and I know I've seen her talk about it many times. And with Kath's videos, she often puts a lot, like she'll do a week of me mades or my favorite tees or my favorite pattern. So she often puts a lot of different patterns in one video. Might be hard for me to find just one video, but I'm going to do it because Kath, as I say, she loves this Solar Tee and she has made it a gazillion times. And the last pattern from Papercut Patterns is the Ashling blouse / dress. And this is a really versatile pattern. It's a very oversized fit. You can make it in a dress length, above the knee dress length, or you could lengthen it if you wanted to. It's got a collar and collar stand. It also has an option for a frill collar, and you can make it in a fairly sort of, well, I was going to call it a traditional standard sort of a blouse, but it's not really that standard because you could put that amazing ruffle on it, and also around the cuff it's got a lovely cuff detail. It's got, I guess you would call it a placket that runs around the cuff this way instead of up that way. Runs around this way and does up with a frill on the end of it, so that just makes it a really lovely detail. And you can also make it in a cropped version. So really versatile pattern. And the famous YouTuber I have seen who made this dress is me. I'm just kidding, I'm not famous, but I did make it, and this is it here. I made a few changes to it. I originally put the ruffle collar on it, but this fabric that I've used here is a really beautiful, soft and gorgeous cotton lawn that I got from the Dahlia Society in one of her bespoke boxes. And so there wasn't enough oomph in the fabric to hold that collar up. So in the end, I just made it into a V-neck like this. And I didn't have enough fabric to make the long sleeves, so I just cut the sleeves off, made my own little frill to put on the bottom, just to sort of tie it all in together with the frill that was running around the center like that. So I'll put that video down below as well. It's worth mentioning that Papercut have recently, not really recently, but reasonably recently, launched a new pattern collection called Papercut. And it is essentially the adult patterns just scaled down for children. So if you have children in your life and you would like to make them some really amazing patterns, then go and check out that range as well. Jennifer Lauran Handmade is the next New Zealand sewing pattern designer I will talk to you about. I've seen many of her patterns made on YouTube sewing bloggers videos. I feel like Jennifer Lauran has quite a sort of a retro feel to it, sort of a 1940s, 50s, 60s, even 70s feel to a lot of her patterns. And she has the odd men's styles and some accessories as well. Jennifer Lauran Handmade has cup sizes, which is amazing, and she's got a really great size range. Goes up to a bust of 156.5 centimeters, which is 61 5/8 inches, and a hip of 159.5 centimeters, or 62 3/4 inches. Jennifer Lauran Handmade has a lot of patterns. I'll just talk you through a couple of them. The first one is the MET, which is quite a new pattern, and I have seen Rachel from the French Seams make the MET. She seemed to love it. She loved the colour blocking aspect, the pattern mashing that you can do with this t-shirt. So you can make it short sleeved or long sleeved. You can pattern match and colour block if you like, or you don't have to. There's an option to do a plain tee. So it's just got a sort of simple grown on sleeve, but there's all that shaping, like I say, opportunity for doing different colours and different patterns. So that is just a really versatile tee. Like I say, colour block it or don't. Plain tee or a fancy schmancy one, up to you. So I'll link Rachel from the French Seams below. Go and have a look at her video about her adventures with the MET. Again, she's like a bit like Kath. I'm sure I've seen she's made more than one tee, and it's, you know, it hasn't been out on the market that long. And the other pattern from Jennifer Lauran Handmade I'll talk to you about is the Bastien culottes. And the Bastien culottes are sort of a bit of a sort of a sailor type pant. You can make it in two lengths. Well, you can make it in any length, can't you? In fact, I think this pattern would look beautiful made into a full length trouser. It would give that sort of 1940s vibe. You know, the Hollywood sirens used to wear those big wide legged pants. And you could even make them really long and put a cuff on them. That would really make them look like a 1940s Hollywood sirens pants. But I'd really like this culotte. It's nice and fitted around the waist, and it's got big deep pockets, and the pockets is in buttons on these pockets, and that's how you get in and out of the culottes. You undo those buttons and that's your opening there. And I have seen Claire from Stitch Hem Sew make the Bastien culottes. She loved them, and in fact, since she made her first pair, she has also hacked the culottes into a skirt, which I thought was very clever. And I believe, in looking at a recent video of hers, she is in the process of making a new pair of Bastien culottes, because her first pair of Bastien culottes, she wore them so darn much, she wore them out. I feel like this is going to be a long video, so I hope you've got a cup of tea or a drink of water or a glass of vino even, depending on the time of day that it is. But I really hope you'll find this interesting, to know that there are so many well-known New Zealand pattern designers out there. We're a very talented bunch way down here in the bottom of the world, and it's just really, as I said earlier, it's just a bit of a thrill for me to see these New Zealand sewing pattern designers when they pop up on, you know, vlogs on YouTube. This next company is the Sewing Revival, and they have a lot of really modern, cool designs. They're not all very size inclusive, up to 125 centimeters or 59 inches, or 134 centimeter hip and 52 inch. So that's not hugely size inclusive, which is a bit of a shame, but a lot of their designs are quite oversized, and I think, you know, if you fall outside of that body measurement range, there's probably still a number of her patterns, their patterns, that you would be able to wear and to fit into. First pattern I'll talk to you about is the Stitchbird dress, and this is a really fun dress. It's got that great detail, crossover detail at the back there. Just a really amazing, easy wearing summer dress. In fact, a lot of their patterns, actually thinking about it, are quite summery. I know that Alex Judge Sews has made this dress a couple of times, so I'll see if I can find, you know, one of her videos there and link it below for you. Next pattern is the Heron blouse, and Hayley from the Hay Meadow over in Aussie had a bit of a love affair with this blouse, and she's made 2 or 3 even. So it's got a really nice high neck detail and, you know, long sleeve frill detail. You can make that so that it's shorter at the front, and it's got a nice shirt tail shaping at the bottom. You can put the frill on the cuff or not, on the hem cuff. And you can, there's actually a version where you can make the heron into a dress. And the last pattern from the Sewing Revival that I will mention to you is the flounce dress and top. And the YouTuber who I've seen make this is me. I really enjoyed making this. The flounce is not tricky to make at all. I made mine with a sort of a raw edge on it. It wasn't raw, it was finished, but it was a frayed edge on it, which was easy to do. I found it quite slim fitting in the hip, even though I fitted the body measurement for that size. I've got a middle that spreads, and I found it quite slim fitting in the hip. So they have a hack which they provide you with, where you can put a pleat in the back neck. So you've just got a pleat in the back neck, which gives you extra room at the hip. So I did that, but in addition to that, I graded out as well. So I made it quite substantially bigger in the hip area than the pattern dictated, but I was very happy with the end result, and I made it in a beautiful sort of lightweight brushed linen, and you know, I absolutely loved that blouse, and I would make that into a dress. I would make that pattern again for sure. The second to last New Zealand sewing pattern company that I will talk to you about is Forget Me Not Patterns, and they've got quite a small boutique range of patterns. Their older patterns are less size inclusive, but their newer range is a whole bunch more size inclusive. Any new patterns that they put out from now on will be in that newer, more size inclusive range. So the older patterns have got a bust of 120 or a hip of 47 inches as the largest size, and the hip of 133 centimeters or 42.25 inches. So yeah, not size inclusive, but they do have cup sizes in their new patterns, and the bust goes up to 148 centimeters or 58.5 inches, and a hip of 153 centimeters or 60.5 inches. So that's a whole bunch more size inclusive, and good on them for doing that, for recognizing the need for size inclusivity and you know, going to the effort to do that. The Vera knit top is the first pattern I will talk to you about, and this is actually a free pattern. They've got several free patterns on the website, so that's always amazing to get really nice patterns that are a little bit unique, that are nicely drafted and are free. There's nothing better. But this one is, you know, it's quite a simple tee, long sleeve tee, but it's got some different options for the sleeves on it. You can have a sort of a longer, almost sort of a trumpety effect, or you can make a shorter with a cuff, sort of about this sort of length, with a little cuff and a little sort of poochy puffy thing here, or you can make a really nice deep long cuff here, and it's got a nice big poofy pouchy bit here. And so I have seen Deb from DB Designs in Australia make this pattern. She's made it a few times. She finds it a really useful staple in her wardrobe. So I'll link her channel below so you can have a look at her talk about one of her Vera tops. Again, it'll be hard to find just one video where she talks about Vera because she has made several versions. And the last pattern from Forget Me Not Patterns is the Helmy blouse. It's a new blouse, probably a couple months old now, maybe 3 months, but newish to the market. And it's got a really cute little Peter Pan collar. It's got different sort of opening options. There's a little slit there. You can put amazing ruffles around the collar, and you can put ruffles around the shoulder seam here. So it's a really cute pattern, and I have seen Kristen from the Dahlia Society make this pattern up. In fact, it was the pattern that you got a discount on in one of her bespoke boxes, probably the month that the Helmy blouse came out. So I'll link her below as well. Go and have a look at that video too if you would like to. And the very last New Zealand pattern designer company that I will talk to you about is Paper Theory. Now, I know that Tara was for a long time based overseas, based in England, I think, for the longest time, but she's a New Zealander, and she's come back to New Zealand, back to Otipoti, which is Dunedin here in New Zealand, and she has got a reasonable size range in her patterns, up to a bust of 142 centimeters or 56 inches, and a hip of 146 centimeters or 57.5 inches. But her new patterns are coming out in a more size inclusive size range, which will be a bust of 170 centimeters or 67 inches and a hip of 178 centimeters or 70 inches. That is amazing, amazing. So good that Tara has recognized the need for more size inclusivity, and again, for that reason alone, she should be supported. The first of her patterns I'll talk to you about is and I don't really know how to pronounce it, so I'm going to go with waaayyy. I don't know what I'm going to go with, but you'll see the name here. So if you look at the line drawings, it's quite an interesting pattern. You can make it into a shirt dress, or you can make it into a traditional length sort of shirt on it. What I really love about it is the all-in-one sleeve. Well, it actually comes across here. So the pattern, I'm not describing it very well at all. Look at the picture and you'll see it goes from here all the way across the top of the sleeve here like this. That's all one pattern piece. So it's a two-piece sleeve. You've got the yoke here. So I love this version here with the stripes going this way and then across here, across the top and across the top of the sleeve. I like it in that shorter length. You can make it all one colour, which just makes it look a bit more like a standard shirt. But when you use a fabric with two directions on it, like the stripe going that way or going that way, or you could do different fabrics altogether, and I just think that that's a really cool and very unique looking shirt. So that actually might be one that I would think about making in the future. The last pattern I'll talk to you about in this video, and the final pattern from Paper Theory, is the Zadie jumpsuit. Now, every YouTuber in this world has made the Zadie jumpsuit. Not me, because I'm not a jumpsuit kind of a gal, but everybody has made the Zadie and everybody loves it. It has been such a popular pattern. And did you know it came from a New Zealand pattern designer? Did you know that any of these designs, if you've seen them before on YouTube, did you know any of them came from New Zealand pattern designers? Maybe, but probably not. But this Zadie, immediately the people who spring to mind are all of the Northern Soul sisters. They have made these individually on their channels. So that's Tamlin from Sewn on the Tyne, Rachel from Stitched Up, and Lauran from the Yorkshire Sew Girl. I know they've all made this Zadie at least once, and I believe several times. And the other person who springs to mind is Adele from Sew for Serenity. Adele loves this pattern. She's made it previously, and recently she has actually made it into a play suit, and she's got plans to make it again. So it's still very current. It's I don't know how long this pattern has been out, but it's been a while, but it's still so popular. Everybody loves it. So please take a look at these ladies' channels and have a look at the Zadie jumpsuit and see if it's something that you might be interested in making. I hope you found that video interesting. I hope it wasn't too long. But like I say, these New Zealand pattern designing companies are very well known in the sewing world. But I'm not sure that a lot of people realise that they are actually from New Zealand. There are many more New Zealand sewing pattern companies to talk about. As I said earlier, if you would like a follow-up, I would love to do another video where we talk about New Zealand sewing patterns that are less well known but are equally as fantastic, and I'm sure they could become very well known. But anyway, that is the end of this video. I hope you liked this style of video. They take a little bit of putting together, which is not a complaint, but so this has sort of been in the pipeline for a while, and I've sort of been gathering up my information so that when I come to edit I can just go plop 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 and put all these pictures in. Thank you very much for sticking around to the very end, if in fact that's what you have done. I appreciate you doing that, and I look forward to seeing you again on my next video. I hope you're well, I hope you're happy, and I hope you're getting lots of sewing done. See you next time.